Hello, welcome to my channel. This is Awakened Taurus 1111. This video is going to be all about moon signs. And sometimes you can hear astrological people talk about moon signs. They'll also call it the shadow side. So in the spirit of that, I wore my dark side Star Wars shirt here to be in the spirit of that. But let's get right into moon signs and what they actually are and what they actually mean. So, and I may make, just like I've made videos for each particular sun sign for zodiacs, I've made a specific video for each sign. I'm thinking about also making a specific video for each moon sign, since it is such a critical and important part of your natal chart. So watch for those to come in the future. So let's get right into moon signs. So your moon sign changes every 2.5 days. The best way to know for sure what your moon sign is to follow the directions in the video I made about pulling your natal chart. So I made 2 natal chart videos, part 1 and part 2. Part 1 is more about what each planet means in your natal chart. Part 2 is specifically on how to pull your natal chart. So you do need your specific time of birth. I've mentioned in that video, you may need to call mom up and ask her what time you're born. Usually your birth time is noted on your birth certificate. I have heard where, especially like older people, it was not noted back in the old days. So in that scenario, if you just do not know the exact time you were born, what you can do as an alternate option to try to get close for your moon sign is you can go out to Google and you can just type in your birthday, whatever your birthday is. So I used an example of January 1st of 2020. So if you go out and you put 1/1/2020 zodiac and just Google that, there should be a website that pulls up. Actually, there'll be a couple of websites that pulls up. There's a website called thehoroscope.co. You can open that website up and that'll give you, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, that'll give you pretty much all of your planets, your natal chart. There's only one problem with this. One, it's not going to give your ascendant sign. So your ascendant sign is, as I've mentioned, is very specific to the particular hour that you were born. It's actually every 2.5 hours. So you will not for sure be able to get your ascendant sign this way. Now you can get your moon sign. However, since your moon sign changes, like I've got on my board here, every 2.5 days, there's one day it's going to be a break. So if your birthday happens to fall on that half day, it could go either way. So there's really no way to make 100% sure that your moon sign is correct unless you have your specific time. Or you can look at a moon table and see when the half day was. Like for instance, with my birthday, the moon sign did not change on my particular day. So I can feel confident I can go out the secondary way and pull that with just my birth date alone without the time and still figure my moon sign. Now, if you fall in a moon table, if you fall on that cutoff day where the time, based on the time change, it could be in the morning or the night when the moon changed signs, you're not going to know for sure without the exact time of birth. So unfortunately, that does occur. Now that website that I mentioned, the horoscope.co, it does have some more information on there. It has some information about Chinese zodiac signs. It has some personality characteristics and different stuff like that. I'm not so big on the Chinese astrology part. I know some people are. But that is out there on that website. If you're interested in that, it'll give you an animal basically based on your birth year. You may have heard before the year of the dragon or the year of the snake. And then they have compatibility with those animal characteristics that they have there. So that's a secondary way to try and get your moon sign if you just can't find out what time you were born specifically. Now, I want to explain a little bit of the difference between what a sun sign and a moon sign is. So the sun sign, again, as I've mentioned in other videos, your sun sign kind of makes up your outward personality of who you are. Your moon sign is more like what you see in yourself. So it's more deeper into who you are. Most people, unless they know you pretty well, they may not know that side of you. And there's certain parts of yourself that even you yourself don't necessarily like to bring up to your conscious mind. Your moon sign kind of is it's more like your subconscious mind. So it's where your dreams come from. It's where joy comes from. There's also negative emotions that come from your moon sign as well, anger and regret and different things like that. So that's kind of the difference between the two. Also, if you're familiar with Sigmund and Freud, his theory on the id and the ego in psychology. So very similar to what he says, your ego would make up your sun sign, where your ego is like your conscious mind. It's your outer personality that makes up what the sun is. And your moon sign is more like the id. So your id is your instincts, your subconscious mind. It's the inner core of who you are. And I'll tell you why that your moon is so important to who you are is because if you think about it, your sun represents your wants in life, your wants as a person. Your moon represents your needs as a person, your needs for what would make you happy, what would fulfill you. So you see how important that is when you think about it that way. Obviously, needs are more important than wants. So you see why the moon sign is so important in your natal chart. And as I mentioned on some other videos, your first 30 years of life, your moon sign is very crucial and very important. But as you get older, you mature as a person. And so some things that you may have not been so clear about, you didn't have that clarity of who you were. As you've matured, you've went through things, you've tried different things, you've had failures, and you've come and known, no, this is not going to work. So if that thought arises within your subconscious again, and you've already had a experience with that, then your mind knows, okay, no, that's not good. I've already experienced this. This is not the best way. So that's why I think, and personally, in my opinion, that's why your moon sign kind of fades a little bit as you get plus 30, because you've had several years of life and you've had experiences, and then you've learned from those experiences, and then you've matured. Okay, so also what the moon sign is your emotions, good emotions and bad emotions. Again, I mentioned some bad emotions like anger and regret, things like that, and then good emotions, joy, things that make you happy. Those are all things that are controlled by the moon as well. The moon is also said to be the ruler of the five senses. So sight, hearing, taste, smell, and touch. Those things the moon rules in your life. For people that might question distance astrology in general, hopefully if you're watching my videos, it's not something that you question, or maybe you're just curious, you're here to look at it, but most people probably already somewhat believe that the aspects that we talk about are true or have some bearing on their life. But there's scientific evidence, if you think about it, where the moon is controlling things right now that you can see, that controls the tides. We can physically see and monitor the moon affecting the tides as they go in and out. And we've studied this. The moon's gravity and the Earth's gravity work against each other, and they pull, and the oceans actually ebb and flow So that's a physical representation of the energy that's being set on to the earth by the moon. And then also when you think about women's menstrual cycle, it's not a coincidence that a woman's menstrual cycle is 28 days and the moon also goes through its phase from a new moon to a full moon in 28 days. So you can see how the moon has subtle effects on the earth physically, and you can scientifically see that. And there's other things that people say that they look into and they're trying to prove scientifically. That they think that it affects plant life and different things like that. I've even watched some educational animal videos where animals hunt. They know to wait for the full moon so that they can hunt and have more light. So the moon does a lot of things that we don't think about. So it really has a lot of bearing on who we are. So this has been all about the moon sign. If you have any questions about this, please leave them down below. Again, I may make some more videos where I go into specific moon signs. For instance, if your moon is in Sagittarius or if your moon is in Taurus, I may go into those aspects and see how that makes a difference in your personality. Because you can have two people with the exact same sun, but have different moons, and you can almost, the people are just night and day, and that's because the moon has so much of effect on the person, as well as your ascendant sign. If you haven't watched my ascendant sign video, or sometimes called rising sign, please go watch that. All the videos that I make are somewhat, we're in a progression of understanding. So I tried to start with some basics, and then I'm going to build our way up. So if you don't understand some of the things I'm talking about, go back and check some of my other videos. I have videos on how to pull your natal chart. I have videos on specific sun signs. I have videos on triplicities and quadruplicities. If you don't understand that terminology, go back and watch some of those other videos, because it'll give you a basic understanding of astrology that we can build upon and we can go forward. Again, if you've liked this video, please leave a like down below. Leave a comment too if there's something that I did well or something you'd like me to bring up that I didn't talk about. If you haven't already joined my channel, please do, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.